Yeah, how are you?
Good to see you.
Long time no see.
It's been a while.
I am good. We are recording.
Ready? Okay, we're recording.
Yes, we are.
All right, welcome everybody. For those of you who are in the back, if you'd like to find a seat, we're about to get started. Welcome everybody. My name is Paul Jewell. I'll be your host for the evening. Welcome to our candidates forum for this year's fall election. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and the Kittitas County Chamber for hosting this event this evening. We have two different panels of candidates that will be presenting for questions this evening and for answers and responses and all kinds of other good things. We have before us our county council candidates right now, and then after this group, we're going to transition and we'll have a group for the school board and the other race, which is the hospital district commissioner. And we'll have those ones simultaneously as well. There will be a little bit of a break between the two groups. So there'll be an opportunity for you to get up and walk around a little bit. Of course, as the audience, we do ask that you try to keep any noise or conversation to a minimum. If you have a cell phone, if you have one of these, who's got one of these? Everybody's got one of these, right? Do not be the person who, after this announcement, forgets to turn off your cell phone or turn it on silent, because one of you will, and it will be super embarrassing tonight because somebody's going to get a phone call. And we are recording this. It's going to be on TV. It's going to be on ECTV as well as available on both website of the Chamber of Commerce and the League of Women Voters. And you don't want to be the person that they go, "Oh, that was your phone, wasn't it, Mom or Dad, that went off because I was calling you." So don't let that be you. Try to keep Thanksgiving nice and friendly this year, okay? We do have a couple of other rules that we want to go over really quickly. First of all, for the candidates, we do ask that you engage in respectful dialogue with one another. Please keep your answers germane to the questions that are being presented. No personal attacks, and try to make the answers about the subject matter itself and not about the individual. We do ask that you refrain from interrupting each other. We expect that and hope that you also believe that public discourse believes in the art of listening as much as speaking, and so listening to one another without interruption is important. We will allow rebuttals tonight at the discretion of the moderator. That is yours truly. No more than one rebuttal per candidate per question. So for instance, if there were a question to this position over here with Ms. Localist and Mr. Sinclair, and Mr. Sinclair answered and Ms. Localist had a rebuttal, we would allow that. We would also allow Mr. Sinclair potentially a rebuttal as well. Again, but only one per candidate per question, and that's at the discretion of the chair, limited to 30 seconds, okay? Same would be true with the other group as well. I was just using that as an example. Let's see, as far as for the audience as well, now we do have some pre-planned questions that we have for our candidates. They've been provided those in advance. We're going to go over those at the beginning of each panel, but we're leaving the rest of the questions up to you. There are materials in the back. There's some note cards and some pens and pencils. If you have some questions for the candidates, go ahead and write those down. Deliver them to the back table. Please do not bring them forward. Deliver them to the back table. And they will bring those forward at different times, and we'll consolidate those questions and use those during our forum. So really, if this is for you, and these candidates are here to answer your questions. So this is really your opportunity to get the information that you're looking for. We do ask that if you do write a question, that you make sure you pose it in a way that it can be asked to all the candidates. We don't want any questions specifically from Mr. Sinclair or Ms. Goodlow. We want to make sure that there are questions for all the candidates. If you direct them to an individual, they will either be rejected or redirected. So please just make it easy for us so we don't have to do that, okay? As far as other audience participation, we ask that there not be any. So please keep any clapping, cheering, booing, hissing, large signs, cheers, that sort of thing to a minimum or non-existent. We want, again, respectful discourse, a good civil public dialogue tonight. We want to make sure that all the candidates feel welcome. It is nerve-wracking as heck to be up here on an evening like this. I can tell you, having experienced myself in the past, it takes a lot of sheer courage to sit in one of these chairs for 30 minutes or an hour and be grilled by the community. So let's make sure that they feel as welcome as possible. With that, I think we'll go ahead and get started. We do have a timer this evening. Amy McGuffin, who's right there in the front row, has the timer sheet tonight. We do have 90 seconds for your opening statements and then 60-second responses for the additional questions. We're going to start at this end of the table with Mr. Sinclair. And then we'll go to Ms. Lilquist, Ms. Goodlow, and then I know your first name, Aaron, Ms. Smith, right? Yes. I'm gonna circle that so I don't get that wrong. And then we'll rotate. Okay, so we'll start with this group, then we'll start with that group, and we'll try to go back and forth among candidates. If I get it wrong at some point, if I skip a group or skip a candidate, don't hesitate to let me know. I would appreciate being told I made a mistake. That'll just keep us all on this. Does that work for everybody? All right, any questions before we move forward? All right, let's start with the opening question. The opening question is to please introduce yourself, share why you're running and what you hope to accomplish in your first year if elected. Mr. Sinclair.
Good evening, and I want to thank everybody for being here. My name is John Sinclair. Many people know that over the last 20 years, I've been the fire chief with Kittitas Valley Fire and Rescue. And I did grow up here, went to Ellensburg High School, went to college. And as far as what I hope to be able to do in the first year is I want to bring a sense of fiscal conservancy to our community and to the council. In my opinion, there are some decisions that have been reached here in the last couple of years that doesn't have to do with fiscal conservancy. We've got aging infrastructure that we should have had a plan all along for. I would like to see us have a capital facilities plan, a capital fleet plan, and ensure that whatever we build in the future, that we've got the ability to keep that maintained. I think that our community expects that, and I would very much like to see an overall plan that not only keeps what we have in good repair, but we have a plan for any new facilities that we may build to ensure that we're not going to be in crisis 30 years from now. Thank you.
Let's go ahead, Ms. Lucas.
Close do I need to be? So I want to start by thanking the Chamber and the League for organizing this event, and thank you in the audience for all attending tonight. And I'm going to admit that I'm going to look at my notes to make sure I'm hitting my points within the time allotted. I came to Ellensburg first in 1979 as a Central student, and I graduated with a degree in geography and then went on to get a degree in water resources management from the University of Wisconsin. That education taught me to think holistically and how to analyze policy choices. I worked in water resources in Oregon and Utah before coming back to Ellensburg in 1995 to raise two boys. I immediately joined the League of Women Voters and served on the library board until I was elected to the city council in 2001. Residents tell me that they love the small town character and the historic downtown, and that they want a responsible and responsive government. And I will continue to work to protect what we love about Ellensburg and provide what we need. I want to build on my past accomplishments of maintaining a great place to live and work. And I would say that we have capital facility plans and a fleet plan, and we have maintained most things in good repair. We have a policy that and 4 more years.
Thank you, Ms. Goodlow. I'm sorry, Ms. Lilquist, Ms. Goodlow, please, your opening remarks.
Thank you. My name is Nancy Goodlow. I want to thank the League and the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this, giving us an opportunity to speak to the public in this venue. I'm running for re-election to the Ellensburg City Council to continue my participation in moving our city forward into the future. Over the past 8 years, I have contributed to my leadership, knowledge, and expertise to the decisions of the council in addressing the city's priorities. I have fully supported the partnerships we have with various community organizations and the collaborative decision-making that has resulted throughout Kittitas County. I'm excited about the opportunities we will have in the next 4 years to strengthen our infrastructure, implement our energy sustainability strategy, build our economic development capacity, and continue to find partners to build affordable housing. We will also have tough challenges in the face of our recreation facility needs and a shrinking general fund requiring tighter budgeting and less financial capacity to accomplish our goals. I believe my foundation of understanding of these challenges positions me to make positive contributions to decisions and utilize my skills and talents to help us tackle these issues and maintain the community that we all love.
Thank you, Ms. Goodlow. Ms. Smith, your opening remarks.
Hi there, I'm Erin Smith. Thank you for this opportunity and thank you all for being here. I'm running for city council because I feel like it's time for fresh council, someone who cares more about our roots and history, about our children, and someone with new eyes on topics. We also need better transparency and fiscal responsibility. Over the past few years, I've grown increasingly frustrated with the city's focus on generating additional revenue without meaningful discussion on reducing expenses and simply raising our taxes with a shiny bow on the ballot. Frivolously spending has got to stop, and we must be planning ahead for infrastructure and parks and maintenance. I know I'm a bit of the underdog here, but I'm confident in my ability to do a good job. This is an act of service, not a job for money, and the only thing driving me is my passion for my hometown and the potential it has. I saw someone recently write, Ellensburg isn't special. And that was a resident. And I think they're wrong. I'd like to prove it to them because I know we can be great.
Thank you. Ms. Goodlow, I guess I should have mentioned, rebuttals be on the questions themselves, not on opening remarks, if that's
Oh,
okay. So
okay.
at this point, I'm going to reject your rebuttal request very respectfully. I'm trying to remember there are two Nancys sitting right next to each other. I've already blown your names once, so I apologize for that, ladies. I'll try to get that better next time. Let's go to question number one, and we're gonna go ahead and switch to the next panel, and Ms. Goodlow, we'll start with you. No, we're gonna go to the next group, but thank you, Mr. Sinclair, good try. We're gonna go to group number two, which is Ms. Goodlow and Ms. Smith, and we'll start with you, Ms. Goodlow. When it comes back, Ms. Locust, you'll be the first to respond in your group. So I know this is complicated. It's complicated for me too, but it'll go Goodlow, Smith, Wilquist, Sinclair on this one, okay? We might have to actually do that for every single one. Let's hope not. All right, so the first question, and again, candidates have received these questions in advance already. So if you have other questions that you'd like them to answer for you tonight, please note that in a couple of questions, we're gonna be out of predetermined questions. So we're really relying on you to give us the questions that you want answered. So please be thinking of those, writing them down and delivering them to the back. In the meantime, question number one, and this is for you, Ms. Goodlow. If elected, how would you overcome your personal biases to effectively serve all residents in your district and maintain impartiality?
Thank you. I believe first I have to commit to know what my biases are and then be willing to explore and understand how these biases are impacting my thinking. If I want to make good decisions in any situation, this is a process I have to go through. With this knowledge and awareness, I can more easily set aside my personal biases and listen and hear other opinions and perspectives, and then use my own fact-finding process to add to my knowledge base about the decision. When I've done this, I have more objectivity and less partiality to weigh all the facts and information around the issue. I am able to find my truth in what I believe is in the best interest of the entire city. And as a council member, I can vote standing in that truth and know that I have voted for the best decision I could make for the city and its residents.
Thank you, Ms. Goodlow. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. I'm not doing this for any personal bias, maybe my love for traditional Ellensburg, the small country town. that I feel like is dying and losing its country flair. I do want to keep Ellensburg country. The rodeo is what brings most of our tourism, and that small country town look and feel is what makes us special and sets us apart from nearby cities. It's not just my bias though, because keeping it country is what I believe is best for Ellensburg. Any other bias I have are issue-based and not personal.
Thank you. Ms. Lopez, same question. Do you need me to repeat it?
No.
Okay,
So my goal and what I always strive for is to make decisions that are in the best interest of the community as a whole, including future residents. So my process for decision making is I try and research best practices for what other communities are doing. Try to understand the facts of issues as well as the big picture. I read the agenda reports and the emails from residents. I listen to testimony from my fellow councilmen with an open mind. They often have good points that influence my thinking. I respect all viewpoints, and we make policy choices. There's no one right or wrong answer. So after all the discussion, I have to vote, and I will vote with the community as a whole in mind.
thank you, Ms. Lilquist. Mr. Sinclair?
So one of my life mottos is seek first to understand, then be understood. If you've ever read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it's one of the pillars. And I think that it's important to first understand the issue. I've had the opportunity over the last 35 years to be on lots of boards, commissions, things like that. And I know that I am one of 7 people that get to make a decision. And so it is important for everybody to know I'm not coming in to be directing the city in my image. We just went through a No King's Day. I'm not a king. I will very actively participate with my fellow council members to swing them to my perspective, but I've got to be able to use logic and persuasion to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Okay, let's move on to our second question. Yeah, thank you. I was gonna mention that. Just, if the candidates would speak directly into their microphones, I think it'd just be a little bit more helpful for everyone to hear. Are you guys hearing okay in the back there? Perfect, thumbs up, I love it. All right, second predetermined question, and this one will go to Ms. Lilquist first, then Ms. Smith. So we'll go Ms. Lilquist, then Mr. Sinclair, then Ms. Smith, then Ms. Goodlow. This is a good time. It's a good time for all of us on a Thursday, right?
It's a math problem.
Okay. I think they did this on purpose just for us to have fun. All right, second question. City council strives to find to find common ground among citizens with differing opinions. Please describe your experience as a consensus builder.
So I'm gonna choose, when indoor dining was restricted for COVID, we allowed temporary streeteries to be constructed in parking spaces downtown. And when those restrictions ended, there was mixed feelings about allowing those streeteries to continue. And some people loved the vibe of eating on the street, and others thought the best use of the space was parking. So there was a survey, 800 people, 80% favored streeteries with some conditions. So I led an ad hoc subcommittee that included people both for and against continuing on-street dining. Some of those interests we were balancing included what to charge for the use of those spaces, the geographic limits, not having too many on one block, how to protect the historic nature of downtown if we allowed them. So we were able to come to an agreement on a policy and a permit process. And I still hear complaints about the use of parking, and I still see people who are enjoying a curbside meal.
Thank you, Ms. Lilquist. Ms. Smith. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Mr. Sinclair.
Okay,
Yeah, goes to you.
can you repeat the question?
I'm happy to.
Thank you.
City council strives to find common ground among citizens with differing opinions. Describe your experience as a consensus builder.
So when I first came here as fire chief, there was an idea that we would merge the city fire department into the county fire department, the county fire district that surrounded the city. There were a number of people that were for that. There were a number of people that were against that. And what we did is we put together a citizens advisory committee and asked them to participate. And those were thought leaders from throughout the community. We went through a process by giving them facts and left the decision up to them. It became very apparent what the right path was. And I think that if you start with facts, you go through and process the facts, what you will find is a list of alternatives. And then you go through a process of selecting the best alternatives, much the way in which Ms. Lilquist just described with the streeteries. So I think that it is important to first get all the facts and then look at alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. First you have to have conversations. You have to be flexible and fair, listen to everyone's opinions and find middle ground. Use facts and do your research if necessary, but you must listen to understand and not judge. You have to understand that people can have different opinions and both be right. Showing facts and examples, doing your research, can bring people together on something they may have disagreed with previously.
Thank you. And Ms. Goodall.
Yes. Building consensus requires a strong consensus building. A strong consensus building process requires patience, time, resources, human, maybe other types of resource like finances. Strong process for decision making and a commitment for participants to listen to all perspectives and opinions and have open and honest communication and transparency. Throughout my professional career, I have utilized all these elements to bring small and large groups of the community, sports teams I coached, and academic departments to find consensus on issues. As an example, when I was administrator of Kittitas County Health Department, I led a coalition of community members, staff from the school district, and interested people who thought there was mold in the high school in Ellensburg, what's that? Yeah. It was a successful effort, and I think Mr. Jewell could probably attest to that.
I'm sure it's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
Ms. Goodall. We all look forward to hearing it. All right, let's move on to our last prepared question. So that's your last warning for audience members. If you're interested in getting some questions for these candidates for us to read up here, for them to answer, please get that information or your questions or both, preferably both, back to the back table and they will filter those forward. We have come full circle, Mr. Sinclair. You are first again on this one, so hopefully that was a bit of a dry run through. We'll get this down. But Mr. Sinclair, you'll be first to answer this question. And the final question is this: how will you address those city services that are in high demand but low budget, other than by increasing property taxes for large capital projects?
In a former life, I had the opportunity to spend some time in Olympia, and when I was the president of the International Association of Fire Chiefs, I had the opportunity to spend some time in Washington, D.C. I understand how those appropriations processes work, both in Olympia and in Washington, D.C. And the city doesn't have a full-time lobbyist, but I think that there are certainly processes by which we can engage with elected officials at the state and at the federal level to get projects into the funding stream. I do believe that it is, all we have to do is look at Central and what they've been able to do over the last 15 years with their building cycle. That Ellensburg is on the map and we just need to communicate our need. And I think that the community is tired of increasing taxes. So
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Yeah, I think that this question is really about park facility funding. And we have been trying to replace the racket center since it burned with a field house at Rotary Park, and we're about $7 million short. A number of residents have lobbied for a new pool, estimated cost $25 to $50 million, and we cannot afford a new pool without new revenue. So what we've been exploring is a countywide public facility district, most likely funded by sales tax, if the voters approve, to allow county residents to share the cost of the facility and reduce the burden on city residents. Property tax has not been part of that conversation. We do increase property taxes 1% per year as allowed. That amounts to about $37,000. That's it. And I would point out that the part of my tax bill that goes to, property tax bill that goes to the city has reduced in the past 15 years.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Ms. Bidlow, you will be the first to answer on your panel.
Thank you. I believe, first of all, I believe it is appropriate to ask the residents of the city or county for financial support to build large facilities like a pool or the field house that is going to bring in, benefit everyone and bring revenue and economic development into this community. However, I believe it is the last step in a process that the city should use to plan and try to get as much funding as they can on the table before they ask the community for any help on this. I believe the community should be involved in the process from the start, and the community should have some input on that. If it comes down to the situation that was described by Councilmember Lilquist, then the taxpayers have the ultimate decision to make. The city will not implement a tax to build a facility. They will put an initiative on the ballot that allows the taxpayers to make that decision.
Thank you, Ms. Goodlow. And Ms. Smith, final word on this one.
Thank you. There are other avenues to find funding other than raising taxes. For example, I met with Washington State Representative Alex Ibarra on October 1st about the pool. And he informed me that they basically have a bucket of money, that's what he said, up for grabs for capital improvements. And all we had to do was ask, which he said we have not done. This isn't something special that he does, that he was gonna do. It was just, this is something standard that he did recently for Clay Allen as well. I would also look at cutting or scaling back on non-essential or low demand services, such as the free transit service. For just an example, we don't need to tax our citizens to pay for essentially empty buses. The bus drivers have admitted this fact, and I see with my own eyes every day. Maybe someday we will need to expand those services, but I don't think it's a priority right now. And I would rather see a vote on a 0.2 sales tax to get a splash pad, new pool, or something like that, other than an underutilized transit system.
Thank you. Well, we've reached the point that we've gone through all of our developed questions. I'm hoping that there are some questions maybe coming up from the back. They haven't arrived yet, and so to fill some time, I'm going to throw out a question. Don't worry, it'll be an easy one. Ms. Lilquist, you will be first on your panel. Ms. Smith, you'll be first on your panel. We're going to start with your panel, Ms. Smith, on this question. The Department of Ecology recently took unprecedented action in the Yakima River Basin, pertaining all surface water users, commercial, municipal, and domestic and otherwise, from diverting water from the Yakima River, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago. To my knowledge, at least in my lifetime, this has never happened in the Yakima River Basin. It is considered kind of the worst case scenarios under the drought conditions. We're currently in a 3-year drought here in the Yakima River Basin. It's extremely dry. The city of Ellensburg utilizes groundwater and has surface water rights. How should the city of Ellensburg be planning for the future given the new normal we've just faced? Ms. Smith, you are first on this question.
Well, obviously, I'm not a professional in that field, so I would be, asking the professionals around me, what their take is, and, I would be going from there.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Goodlow?
Yeah, I would have to echo that. I'm not an expert on it either, but at COG meeting last week, I heard a lot of good information from people at the top of the water source and at the bottom in Tri-Cities. And the message I took away from that is conservation, conservation, conservation. And an emphasis for the entire county to talk about conservation on a year-round basis. Even though we don't utilize the surface water from the river that much, we don't contribute to the process, to problem that much, but we do have a responsibility to help with the solution. And I'm sure the city will stay on board. They will be a good partner and a strong partner in the efforts that we put in place to conserve water for the next several years so that we can assure ourselves of a proper water resource in the future.
Thank you. Ms. Lilquist?
Yeah, so with my background in water resources management, I've been really interested in the city's water policy in general. Of course, groundwater and surface water are interconnected, and we need to support our neighbors and save water. And the city has saved actually a lot of water by inspecting and lining our pipes. And at my urging, we now systematically monitor well water levels. And that's reported to the Utility Advisory Committee each fall. The biggest potential for conservation for you and your homes would be in landscaping. Most of your household water gets back to the river through the wastewater treatment plant. But the Yakima Basin Integrated Plan is looking at storage, and the city has a study for groundwater storage right now.
Thank you. Mr. Sinclair?
So I know that water has been a big issue in this county for a long time. And everything from enhanced storage. I know that the Bureau of Reclamation is working very hard on enhancing storage, obviously, in the past. The fourth lake was always considered to be the snowpack. I think that we're not the first community that has looked at this, and I agree with the other people on the panel. Conservation has to be a part of the answer to this. But if you look at Southern California, Nevada, other places that have faced this, I think that one of the things that we need to look at as a community is that if the trend line continues, it's going to affect not just we in the city, it's going to affect, or it's going to impact our farming community, because our crops are large water users. So I think that it is important for us to look at a multifaceted approach to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Okay, let's move on to some of our audience questions, and some of these are themed, so I'm gonna group a couple of them together. We're gonna start with this panel. It'll start with Ms. Lilquist this time, then we'll go to Ms. Goodlow's panel, and it'll start with Ms. Goodlow. Did we get out of order on that? It feels like we did. I'm rolling with it anyways. Are you guys okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So we've talked about, we've already hit some major issue themes, right? Water being one of them. We've talked about recreation, taxes, another one that has come up already. And this question has to do with fiscal responsibility and fiscal restraint. And I believe that has come up as well. The question is this: what are some things that the city council can do to stay within the budget and to save money? Ms. Lilquist.
Well, we are always looking for ways to stay, we always do stay within the budget, by law, we have to stay within the budget. We cannot spend more than we have, we have reserves for every fund that by ordinance, require ourselves to have, that rainy day fund. We always, are conservative in, estimating how much revenue we will have and well, and conservative in, our spending. So almost every year, we spend less in the budget than than the budget allows. So it is, it is up to the city manager to give the council a balanced budget. And that's an out of time.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Mr. Sinclair?
So in 2009, when we started into the Great Recession, the fire district was faced with significant budget cuts, because our property tax actually went down. And what we did is we looked at that and said, we're going to prioritize our employees because that is who is out there delivering the service. And I think that what we have to do is get creative. We have to look at, everything that comes before the council. Have we explored every opportunity to take a look at, is there a creative way to do that? And I will just utilize the trash cans downtown as an example. There were probably some creative ways that we could have, refurbished those and save the city money, rather than go out and buy brand new. And those are the kind of things that I would like to see us do, is get creative in some other ways to handle expenses.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Ms. Goodell?
Yes, I would like to echo Councilmember Lundquist's comments. She described everything that we do, the laws that guide our budgeting process, and in her remarks about our fiscal responsibility and our finance department, who keeps us in line. Our city manager and staff prepare the budget. If they can't get to a balanced budget, then they make the required cuts that they need to make to get the budget to balance. That could be reduction in staff, it could be reduction in services. But we can only use the general fund money for general fund purposes. And there's not a lot, it's the supply there, because of the tax base that it's based on, the sales tax is shrinking every year. So that's getting smaller and smaller. When it comes to other projects, we have special funds that are allowed and dedicated to certain financial things that we can do with them. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Ms. Goodell. Ms. Smith?
I'm actually going to echo a little bit of what John said, and I'm bummed he brought up the trash cans, because I actually had something written down for that. But thinking outside the box, I think it would be very important. As far as the trash cans, we have a high school and a university that have metalworking shops. We could have looked into having them help us repair our custom garbage cans, rather than spending the $60,000. I know it's a dead issue now because it's done, but Sela actually did this for their town. And 2 of the teachers live in Ellensburg, and they said they would do it for Ellensburg if we had asked. So just something like that, we would just be responsible for providing materials, but thinking outside the box like that, utilizing our community to help save money, people are happy to help.
Thank you.
I was gonna ask for a rebuttal, but you moved to panel.
Yes, it's only within your own panel.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would also just respectfully remind candidates, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, we're not using titles this evening. We're only using Mr. and Miss just to make sure that everything's fair.
Thank you, sorry.
No problem. Let's switch a little bit. Let's stay along the lines of fiscal issues, but let's talk about infrastructure. There's a couple of questions here about infrastructure, mostly really about the age of our infrastructure here in Ellensburg. Ellensburg's not a spring chicken, as we know. I mean, it looks fresh and it looks new, but we have a lot of historic buildings and a lot of aging infrastructure in our community. What can we do to fiscally prepare to improve, enhance, replace, upgrade, etc., our utility and transportation systems? What should we be doing as a community to do that? We're gonna start with your panel. Ms. Smith, you'll go first. And then Mr. Sinclair, when we switch to your panel, you'll be the first to answer on this side. Ms. Smith, go ahead.
Make me go first with a hard question. Again, thinking outside the box, I think asking the community for assistance, asking professionals, and taking them into consideration. But also I want to add that, we have a university here, and we should be trying to find partnerships with. I'm sure there has been many conversations. But I just want to talk about the pool a little bit and how they have a big, beautiful pool. Someone said it would cost 10 million to make repairs needed, and then a monthly rental fee, would be in order. Or rather high monthly fee. But, rather than shutting our pool down and waiting a decade for a new one, I think it would be in our best interest to talk to them and see if we could make some sort of arrangement.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Goodlow.
Yes, with respect to utilities and transportation, and providing an infrastructure and planning for that, I could offer that the utilities, all of the utilities have a strategic plan for development of their infrastructure. They generate their own income and they match that against grants that can be brought in from the Department of Education or from the federal government sometimes to build and do the things they need to do to protect their infrastructure. In terms of the transportation system in our community, the public transportation that we have supports itself. We support that. Community supports that. Right now, it doesn't cost anything. We may get to a point where we have to charge a fee. But the processes that we have in place right now and the practices that we're using are consistent with most of what's going on across rural Washington.
Thank you. Mr. Sinclair.
So this is an area where I actually want to commend the city council for their actions as it relates to our roads. You know, since I was a kid living here 67 years ago, it's important for us to remember that what the city does currently with their contract with the county to come in and do seal coating, and we do that and we maintain our infrastructure that we've got. And I think that that is to be commended. I do believe that as we look at improvements to the overall system, we've got traffic impact fees, but I've heard some disturbing things as it relates to the Winco project and whether or not full impact fees are being spent on that, or being charged to them. I think that as we look at growth and development, that growth and development needs to pay for the impact on our overall system.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair and Ms. Goodlow, or Lilquist, excuse me.
Thanks. What I was gonna say before, to the property tax issue, I analyzed my bill, from 2010 to 2025. And, like I said, for my house, the city part of my bill declined, from $418 in 2010 to $361 in 2025. The fire portion of my bill went up 40% from 296 in 2010 to 411 in 2025. So, we have policies in place. We've added a facility maintenance person because they were spending 80% of their time on the pool and library. We have created a general facilities fund so that we have money available to make repairs when things happen. We have a strategic priority to have dedicated park funding, and so we're looking for that.
Thank you, Ms. Lilquist. We have time for one more audience question. And then we'll move on to your final statements. Questions have 60-second responses. Your final statements, you'll be allowed 90 seconds for your final remarks. This question will start with this panel. Ms. Lilquist, you'll be the first to answer, then we'll move to the next panel, and Ms. Goodlow, you'll be the first to answer. So we'll go Lilquist, Sinclair, Goodlow, and Smith. I do think it might benefit. There is a perception among some county residents, or I'm sorry, city residents, that serious crime is creeping up in Ellensburg. How do you think the city council should be addressing the issue?
Well, according to the police chief at a few meetings ago, he provided a 2024 crime report. The crime rate overall has decreased to the lowest level since they started collecting data. An 11% decrease from 2023, 28% from 2022 to 2024. So I'm not sure why that perception exists, but juvenile crime arrests decreased. The Ellensburg Police has some great programs that handle the care with the schools. They have a gang focus to including graffiti abatement. They have this evidence-based policing strategy to focus on deterrence with community engagement, and they have a program to contact high-density residential, high call volume to work with them to reduce it.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to speak to the detective that's in charge of the gang issue here a couple weeks ago. And I also said that I would correct a piece of information from the CWU debate. And that is that I had been told that juvenile crime was up, and when in fact juvenile crime is down. I think what is shocking to us as a community is that there are multiple examples of violent crime that we're not used to in this community. And that whether or not it's one or pick a number, that jars the sensibilities and takes away from the safety of our community. And I think that, you know, certainly working as the police department is ably doing right now under Chief Wade, I think that it is important for us to continue to look at the crime problem and see what other communities are doing. And if it's working, employ those tools.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Ms. Goodlow.
Yes, I would echo the comments of Ms. Lilquist in terms of the work that the EPD is doing in our community to address crime. They have beautiful systems in place. And I think now that we've had those systems in place for the last 4 years, we see what it can do for our community. So crime is down across the board, not just juvenile crime. And that's an important thing. I agree with Mr. Sinclair's observations about our sensibilities and how they get impacted when we have a serious crime occur. We have a great EPD. We have wonderful creative thinking that happens with that. They've hired a statistician to help with that, and then some of the programs they've developed are great. I think City Council has to support the EPD and all the things that they are trying to do because it's making a difference in our community.
Thank you, Ms. Goodlow. Ms. Smith.
I actually met with Officer Alviar and Captain Lee, and to reiterate, they both agreed that crime rate is down in both adults and in the youth. We asked them I asked them, what do you think would be the biggest benefit for the community? And they explained that there's not enough mentorships or counseling for not only the youth, but their parents, because a lot of parents just really need help they don't know. He said that there's one through CWU, but it's referral based, and we need something with open doors. I also think starting a program of some sort to fund low-income households with sports parks for sports programs to get these kids the gear they need, the transportation they need to keep them off the streets and get them to be a part of something, because that's what the kids really need. Otherwise, they're getting in trouble.
Okay, thank you. Well, that completes our questions portion for this panel, or for both panels, I guess. We'll now move into our closing statements. Ms. Smith, we're gonna start with you. Then we'll go to Ms. Goodlow. From there, we'll go to Mr. Sinclair, and we'll finish with Ms. Lilquist. Ms. Smith, you have 90 seconds.
Okay. I just want to say that over the past few years, it's been a little eye-opening. I wanted to point out that there was a survey conducted in 2018 for the maintenance of our memorial pool. And it was stated then that the roof needed to be replaced at that time. It wasn't until a very concerned community began voicing major complaints that they finally patched the leaking holes, but the roof still needs to be replaced. Also, parking is a real issue. They still have the streeteries, like Lilliquist was talking about, from COVID, that are taking up parking and are empty over half the year. They're also building affordable housing over a parking lot downtown and are not adding additional parking, from what I could tell, for the potential new residents. They removed valuable parking as well and put Unity Park there. There's also those beautiful new pavers along University Way that cost a fortune, but gets very little foot traffic. Meanwhile, we have annex neighborhoods completely without sidewalks and other neighborhoods with crumbling streets and sidewalks. 7th Avenue has bike lanes that were put in that are not popular with most of the community. And I've never seen a cyclist actually use them. Not that they don't, but I haven't seen it. I just want to say that we're not Issaquah. Some things don't make sense here, and we need to get away from the one size fits all mentality and do things that make sense for Ellensburg. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Goodlow.
Yes, I just want to say many thanks again to the League of Women Voters and the Chamber, bringing this forum to the candidates and the voters. And many thanks to everybody who came tonight, and those of you who submitted questions, we appreciate this. We live in a wonderful community with residents who love the community and want to help make it better. I share your goals and concerns, and I believe I am well positioned to address these goals and concerns and make a positive contribution to the city in the next 4 years. I do not believe the city council is bought into a one size fits everything. We have a creative staff, we have creative leadership, and we have creative thinking on our council. And we make good decisions for this community. Not necessarily decisions that everybody believes in or that everybody supports. But given the information we have, the tools we have, the resources we have, we do a good job to take care of this community.
Thank you. Mr. Sinclair, I believe you're next.
I too want to thank the League of Women Voters and the Chamber and really all of you. My guess is that many of you have already voted because you're here and so you're interested in local civics. As I entered into this, having held a position for 20 years of leadership in this community, I was surprised at the people in our community that are keyboard warriors that want to defame people that are running for office. And so one of the things that I want to use the last couple of seconds in is to explain to you what I'm not. I'm not hateful. I've been accused of that. One of the things that I did is I worked with all of these fine people up here to put together a statement that is against violence and against toxicity. And no matter who you vote for, I think that we need to take the toxicity out of our politics. And that means some of the keyboard warriors need to ratchet things down because we're all going to be community members when we're done with this. As I was explaining to Ms. Lilquist here just a few minutes ago, 11 days from now, and we're going to be done. And I got the stop sign, so.
Thank you, Mr. Sinclair. Ms. Lilquist.
I want to thank Mr. Sinclair for running a good campaign and keeping it positive and not uh, well, like some people do, drag me through the mud. But I am proud of my accomplishments in my tenure on city council. We built a welcoming downtown park with a neighborhood park on North Alder. We have many new park features, Rotary Park, a sports field, playground, dog park, mountain biking skills course, and disc golf. We reduced flooding in a number of neighborhoods, freeing some of that land for industrial development. We've established reliable free transit system, and I would encourage you to vote yes on Proposition 1. We have built miles of new multi-use trails. We've helped neighbors afford homes, adding 61 new rent-restricted options with 120 more coming. We've preserved our historic character, protecting Morgan Middle School, the Geddes Building, and Washington School. Our population has grown by 25% without significant traffic congestion. We have set the stage for greater economic prosperity. We've established the Ellensburg Creative District. We've weathered economics ups and downs without layoffs or significant reductions to city services. We've been fiscally responsible with your tax dollars, and we receive great audits from the state.
Thank you, Ms. Lilquist. All right, well, that concludes our forum for this particular panel for the city council positions. We're gonna do a quick reset. We're gonna take about a 5-minute break, and we're gonna bring up the other candidates that you'll have a chance to answer questions, who will have a chance to answer your questions. Before we let them go, please join me in thanking these candidates for the sacrifice made. So before coming back, but if you can find your seat, now would be the time. If someone stole it, you won't have an argument over that, take it outside. But for the rest of you, please come back and join us. We'd love to have you sit for the next round of discussion. Are you recording? Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, let's get right back to it. Your time is valuable, and we have some great candidates here in front of you. This is our second portion, I guess, of the forum this evening. We have two different groups that we're going to be talking with between now and 8 o'clock. We have our Ellensburg School District position. It's getting late on a Thursday. Position number 3 candidates. We have Mr. Michael Carricker here on my left. And next to him, we have Miss Cynthia Coe. And then we have our hospital district commissioner candidates. That's hospital district 1 commissioners. And that is Mr. Terry Clark, who's sitting kind of in the middle there, and Mr. Dan Arnold on the end. We're gonna allow, just like for our last panel discussion, we're gonna allow 90 seconds for your opening statements. We'll start here with Mr. Carricker. Mr. Carricker, you'll go first, and Ms. Coe on your panel, then Mr. Clark will start with you. And then go Mr. Clark, and then Mr. Arnold. And then when we start the questions, we'll switch those, and I will try to get it right. I blew it the last time on more than one occasion. But we'll try to keep up with that rotation as much as possible. Did you have a question, Mr. Clark?
Do I have any questions?
Yes, it looked like you had a question.
I have a lot of things I can tell people about, but I don't have any questions.
Perfect.
I mean, the only thing, can I say something now?
Well, not yet. We're gonna move on to openings. Is it something that, is it part of your opening statement, sir?
Well, I was just, I was gonna talk to some people about, tonight, they had a meeting.
Well, we'll go ahead and allow that to be part of your opening statement. We're gonna start with this side of the table first, okay?
All right.
Now, for members of the audience, again, we do have some predetermined questions that we've sent out to these candidates. They got that information ahead of time, so they've had plenty of time to consider those questions. Those are the easy questions. You're gonna give us the hard questions, okay? So we encourage you, some of you have already done this, which is super helpful, but we encourage you to go back. There's some cards, some notes, these things we write with back there at the table where you can actually write down some questions that you'd like to ask the candidates. Those will come forward to me, and we'll make those part of our forum this evening. This is really an opportunity for you to hear from these candidates. These candidates are looking for the privilege of serving our community in different roles, and it's a great chance for you to ask the penetrating, difficult questions that you'd like to see them answer this evening. So don't be shy. Please make sure that you get those filled out. And again, some of the rules around that are just make sure that you ask a question that can be answered to all the that can be asked, excuse me, to all the candidates of a particular panel. And this one's a little different because we have the school district members and we have the hospital district commissioner folks. So obviously we don't expect you to ask one question to all four of them. So please tell us which panel you want to direct it to, but it needs to be asked to both candidates of that panel, okay? All right, let's go ahead and start with our 90-second opening statements. We'll start again with you, Mr. Carricker.
All right. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Kittitas County Chamber of Commerce and League of Women Voters for bringing this forum together. I'll start off. My name is Michael Carricker. I'm an only child. I'm a single mother who was raised on a waitress salary. Early on, I knew the importance of a quality public education, that education is a great equalizer. I know the difficulties of having grown up on welfare in and around the native reservation and what it's like to go to school with different colored free lunch passes. So my first degree after graduating high school was School of Hard Knocks. I had the opportunity of working a bunch of odd jobs, and then from there I went on to tech school where I learned my passion could be made into a career. And with that career, I made my move out here from Wisconsin to Washington, sticking landing in 2006, where I brought my children along, and they entered into the school system and graduated here. Well, I attended Central Washington University and earned my bachelor's degree here. And for the last 10 years, my wife and I have run a business here in town. And during the last couple of years, I've gotten onto a couple of boards and committees and find that now is my time to give back to the community that supported me through so much and through so many growth periods. So I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Coe.
Hey, my name is Cynthia Coe. I'm running for position 3 on the Ellensburg School Board. I've lived in Ellensburg since 2003. I've raised 2 kids here with my husband. They both attended Ellensburg Public Schools from kindergarten through high school graduation. One of them is sitting right over there. They're both in college now. I've also been a professor of philosophy at Central since 2003, and I've taught a whole bunch of classes that really consider what is a good education? What is our ideal? What are we working towards, and how do we do that? And I think all the time about how to teach. So both as a parent and as an educator, I've been really focused on what our schools do, what they should do, and how to close the gap between where we are and where we should be. I was appointed to fill a vacant position on the school board in February of 2023. I was then reelected to fill out that partial term in November of 2023. And now I'm running for the full 4-year term. Since I've been on the board, we've accomplished a lot. 2 of the major things I'd like to emphasize are we hired a new superintendent and we approved a new 5-year strategic plan. That strategic plan really emphasizes higher academic achievement, supporting student mental health, and strengthening ties between families and schools. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to our hospital district commissioner candidates, and we'll start with you, Mr. Clark, your 90-second opening remarks.
Well, hello. My name's Terry Clark. I've been here since the 1980s. I'm a pharmacist also. I originally came here and helped open up the pharmacy that Weimar had, but it's kind of goofy. They closed that pharmacy back in about 2021. But I was able to work for Rite Aid, but I've had a lot of people call them Wrong Aid because they had all their pharmacies closed. But I am still going to be a pharmacist for CVS. They've opened that up. And then I was able to get elected as a commissioner in 2019, and I've overseen so much healthcare here. It's been really good. I've been able to analyze all the 29 counties that we have in our state about how good their healthcare is. And we're in the top 1/3 of the healthcare in this county because
we're rated number 13 out of the 29 counties. And unfortunately, Yakima County is only rated number 25 out of 29 counties. And the one up there where Wenatchee is rated number 15. So our county's been doing really good. And one of the things, you want me to stop now?
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Arnold.
Hi there, my name's Dan Arnold. I thank you, League of Women Voters, the Chamber of Commerce, for the invitation. I never in a million years that I think I'd be up here on a panel like this. I'm not a politician, but I am a husband, a father of 3, and a 3rd-generation Kittitas Valley resident. In my day job, I'm a pastor, and that's one of the reasons why I am running for this role, because every day I work with hundreds of people who depend on quality healthcare in our community. And as I reflect on why I'm running, we talk about how challenging healthcare is at a federal and a state level, and the challenges seem to only be getting harder and worse. And so at a local level, we need to advocate for the best, the sharpest, most wise, and quality care that we can have for our local residents and people I care deeply about them. So that's why I'm running.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the questions, and we have some, as I mentioned, we have 3 preset questions for each panel. We're going to start with the hospital commissioners. And Mr. Arnold, I know you just finished your opening statement, but now's your opportunity to have the first opportunity to answer this question. We'll continue to switch back and forth. So question number 1, we'll start with Mr. Arnold and then go to Mr. Clark. What do you hope to accomplish as a hospital commissioner?
Yeah, well, as I just said, I hope to advocate for the very best possible healthcare we can have at a local level. Healthcare is very challenging, and for our local residents, as you know, we heard from the city council earlier, as the city continues to grow, we need to continue to expand access to the very best healthcare we can right here. So at the end of a term, I would love to be able to say 6 years from now that we have better healthcare, better providers, more options, and we continue to be a strong, financially solvent healthcare system.
Thank you. Mr. Clark.
I've been overseeing the healthcare we have in our county, and I've been able to help recommend a lot of things. One of the things that we recommended is that we do something to make sure that we have an OB doctor that would deliver babies, because there is about 4 or 5 rural hospitals like we have that will not deliver a baby at all. But what's happened is we were able to get a contract with a group of doctors that will deliver babies, and so now we can always do it. And then we don't always deliver babies that are created or are going to be here in this county, because we're on I-90 and I-82. People drive by this place and they may be going someplace else to consequently talk to somebody about their being pregnant, and when they come by here, they consequently have the delivery pain, and they'll come to the hospital and deliver it. So, and then the other thing.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Your time is up. If you have a couple of words to finish up, that'd be all right.
What?
Did you want to wrap up really fast?
Oh, I talk too much?
Never, sir. We just have the time limit, a 60-second time limit on responses.
Okay, well, I had some other stories about how I helped increase the healthcare here, but I'll keep my mouth shut now.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay, let's move on to our Ellensburg School District position number 3 candidate.
Can I say one other thing? Since I'm a pharmacist and I'm a PharmD, that's what they created when you graduated from a pharmacy school. And the D stands for doctor. So I'm a pharmacy doctor. And some of the doctors here in the county always laugh at me and say, "Oh, I'll call you Dr. Clark, not Mr. Clark."
Well, thank you, Mr. Clark. I appreciate that. Let's move back over to our Ellensburg School District panel with your first question of the night. Ms. Coe, this will be your opportunity to answer first, and then we'll move over to Mr. Carricker. Again, 60 seconds. And I just remind candidates respectfully that the timer's in front of you. You will get a 30-second warning with the flag. And then when the stop comes up, you don't necessarily have to cut yourself off like that, but if you could wrap up really quickly, I think that's the most respectful thing that you can do for other candidates. So let's go to your first question for Ellensburg School District position number 3. If elected, what will your priorities be and how will you judge your success?
So my goal for this next term is really to live out the 5-year strategic plan that we put in place to make sure that every single student feels safe, valued, intellectually challenged, no matter what their background, what language they speak at home, what their interests, needs, and abilities are, and what their future goals are. The whole point of the school district is to educate students, every single student, and the strategic plan really emphasizes equity. That is, every student needs the support and resources they need to learn, or we will provide them with that. There's also an emphasis on literacy and numeracy in the early grades, on student well-being, that is mental health, and then future-ready graduates. Are we preparing students to do whatever they want to do after graduation? So the measures that are built into the strategic plan are the measures that I'll use to judge my own success.
Thank you. Mr. Carricker.
I believe our schools should prepare students not just for college, but for life. As a community member, a business owner, and someone who works with his hands in the trades every day, I see a gap between the skills many of our students leave school with and what's truly needed to thrive in the real world. And I'd like to help bridge that gap. My priorities are student success beyond the classroom, fostering safe and supported learning environments, and strengthening the partnership between parents, teachers, and the district. I'll judge my success by tangible outcomes, more students graduating with clear supported pathways into their futures, stronger trust between the district and the community, and a board that listens, acts with common sense, and represents all voices. This isn't about politics for me, it's about service, common sense, and preparing the next generation for the real world.
Thank you, Mr. Carricker. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next question. So this is the second prepared question that we have. We're gonna go ahead and start again with the school board members, and then we'll go over to the hospital district panel, school board candidates. I don't know why I said members, sorry about that. Mr. Carricker, you'll be first to answer on part of the school board panel. Mr. Clark, you'll be first to answer on part of the hospital commissioner panel. Now, I'll just, a couple of things that I want to just remind candidates, if you could make sure that you speak directly into the microphone, very clearly and very deliberately. If you go like this, people can't hear you. And we're not picking it up very well on the recording as well. These microphones are direct, they're not kind of a more surrounding one, so they don't really follow your voice very well. And people in the back will have a hard time hearing you also. You're all doing a very good job, by the way. I just wanted to make sure that we were all deliberate and on the same page. Let's go with the next question for the school board. Mr. Carricker, this one is for you to go first. What issues do you believe your district needs to address in the academic program and offerings? What changes would you recommend?
One of the biggest issues that I see that our academic programs don't fully reflect is the range of opportunities for our students that they will have after graduation. College prep is important, but so are pathways to the trades, skilled labor, military, entrepreneurship, and on and on. Not every student learns or succeeds the same way, and our program should reflect that. We also need to strengthen real-world skill development, financial literacy, hands-on technical training, and practical life skills that help students step confidently into adulthood. So many local employers, including myself as business owner, see a real need for graduates that are work-ready. I'd recommend expanding career and technical education, reintroducing and strengthening shop, welding, automotive, and agricultural tech classes, improving communication between the district and families, ensuring academic rigor across all the pathways. Our schools should prepare students for real choices, not a one-size-fits-all future. By aligning our programs with community needs and workforce opportunities, we can give students stronger foundations and our community a stronger future.
Thank you, Mr. Carricker. Ms. Coe?
So like most districts across the nation, our district saw deficits, declines in reading and math scores since the pandemic. And that's clearly something that we need to focus on. Also, like many districts across the nation, we've seen a lot more students dealing with mental health issues. And those are two things that we really need to deal with in tandem. We know students can't learn if they're not feeling safe and valued and have a sense of belonging in schools. The focus has to really start in early grades. We know that if students don't have the foundational skills they need, by about third grade, they're not set up to learn the more specialized skills that happen after that. And I would also like to look at the role of Running Start. How is it that we could maintain a really robust 4-year high school experience, including extracurriculars in which students get the academic, but also the social skills they need to succeed after that? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coe. Let's move on to our hospital district commissioner panel and your next question. Mr. Clark, it's your opportunity to answer first. In your view, what is the biggest challenge facing our rural hospital in the next 5 years, and how would you address it?
So you're asking about the challenges for the hospital in the next 5 years?
Yes, sir. The biggest
Okay.
challenge is the
So,
question.
since I'm also on the Washington State Hospital Governance Committee, we had a meeting last month and we talked about a lot of the other things every hospital in this state will have to worry about. Medicare and Medicaid isn't going to be, functioning very well. And a lot of that isn't going to be doing really well. And that's going to impact the finances for the hospital, and it's also going to impact the finances that the patients are gonna have to pay for. So that's one of the things that we're gonna be working really hard on, is to make sure that we are going to have really good finances and help people get better. And then historically, I'm probably talking again too much. Historically, you want me to stop? Because I wanted to talk about the other insurance that we
We'll
had,
give you an opportunity to have that
that we had here in the
discussion.
county, that we got the CWU
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
to change it, so they got better insurance.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Was that one of your internal alarms, ladies? Oh, perfect, perfect. Just wanted to make sure that we didn't have someone in the audience who had a cell phone that was going off, so, okay. Thank you. Mr. Arnold, your opportunity to answer the same question.
Thank you, and I do agree with Mr. Clark that I do think that the financial concerns of healthcare need to be one of our top priorities that we watch, which is why I believe we need wise financial management here at a local level. We need to pay attention to strategic investment and proactively advocating for more support at all levels, state and federal. With that, I'd also add that the challenge of expanding or improving access to local care, as we see other health systems in the state struggling, what we're seeing is providers are having a hard time referring to other health systems. So as we improve our finances, the hope is we can draw more providers to our community as well.
Thank you. All right, now we'll move to our third question. This is the third predetermined question, and then we'll move on to audience questions. We're gonna go ahead and start again, back with the hospital commissioner panel. Mr. Arnold, it'll be your opportunity to answer the question first. What are your areas of expertise, experience, or specializations that you think would benefit the hospital board?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that question. Compared to my opponent and many others on the hospital commission board as well, I'm not a healthcare professional. So I feel I bring to the role that of patient and one who cares about many patients in this community. I also feel I bring to the role that of a leader of a large organization in our community. I help oversee hundreds of volunteers and millions of dollars in budget. And I have worked with many other nonprofits in this community, serving on different boards, teams, and task forces. So I feel pretty connected to many of the deep issues of our community.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, same question.
Can you say that question again?
Sure, I'd be happy to. What are your areas of expertise, experience, or specializations that you think would benefit the hospital board?
Okay, well, since am I speaking on this too much? Since I'm a pharmacist, I've been doing a lot of healthcare here, and I used to be the pharmacy director at the hospital. And so, I was able to oversee so much stuff, and, but they had a goofy CEO, back in 2010, and he got rid of 6 directors in the hospital because he wanted his friends to come over here. And unfortunately, I was one of those, but I still worked as a pharmacist and I'm supposed to talk for 30 seconds more. But that's the thing, I've been taking care of so much healthcare, and I've been also a volunteer. I was on the hospice committee that was here in the county and oversaw hospice. And I'm also on the public health committee right now that I oversee what all the public health wants to do too. And I make sure that all that public health things are taken care of, but I'm gonna stop.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
I hope what I said was a victory for you all.
All right, and finally, our final prepared question for the Ellensburg School District panel. Ms. Coe, I think it's your turn to answer first, if I'm not mistaken. This is a two-part question. If you need me to repeat any part, let me know. What are your areas of concern regarding student achievement in your district, and how do you prepare them to be good citizens? And then the second part of the question would be, do you have specific suggestions for improvement?
Yeah, so it's really difficult for a philosopher to answer that question in 60 seconds about what it means to be a good citizen. There's a lot that comes to mind: critical thinking, moral reasoning, dealing with different perspectives. I guess I would begin by saying we really need foundational skills in the early grades and build toward, in history, in science, in English, in all sorts of disciplines. How is it that students can think for themselves? Not accept a whole bunch of language and beliefs that other people have come up with, but how can they think for themselves and contribute to their community? That's my main concern about how to prepare them to be good citizens. Specific suggestions for improvement: I really feel like the strategic plan we've put together contains those goals and contains specific measures that will get us there. The school district is already forming committees and talking to teachers that are changing student experience in the classroom on these specific priorities. And so I want to support that in my next term.
Thank you. Mr. Carricker, same question. Do you need me to repeat it?
No, thank you. One of my biggest concerns about student achievement is that success is too often measured by just test scores alone. While academic achievement is important, we also need to ask, are students truly prepared for the real world? Do they have the critical thinking skills, personal responsibility, and the work ethic needed to be successful adults and contributing members of their community? We need to focus on the whole student, not just their grades, but the character, resilience, and real world readiness. That means building strong foundations in reading, writing, math, and the sciences, but also teaching practical life skills, problem solving, and accountability. Preparing good students to be good citizens. You can increase civic engagement and community involvement, have respectful dialogue and responsibility, along with personal accountability. Specific suggestions for improvement would be strengthen early literacy in math intervention so that students don't fall behind. Expand real world and community-based learning with internships, service projects, and partnerships with local business. And encourage programs that build soft skills like communication, teamwork, and leadership. Academic success and good citizenships go hand in hand. When students leave our schools, not just with knowledge, but with strong character and real skills, we've done our job.
Thank you. The two words academic success are easy to trip over. That's for sure. I would have struggled with that myself.
5 times.
All right, we're going to stick with our school district candidates and we're going to move away from our pre-set questions. And now for the hard-hitting stuff. This is what you guys have put together. These are the really deep penetrating questions that the community wants to hear from you on. So let's go ahead and get started. Mr. Carricker, it'll be your opportunity to answer first. If there was one thing you could change about the direction that the school board is taking, what would it be and why?
A change in the direction for the school board right now. I'd like to see more community outreach. I've attended several of these meetings and I don't think there's enough involvement by the community there. The community questions are entertained at the end of these things, and usually I'm the only person sitting alone. So this is a very important look and investment into our future, and I think we definitely need much more community involvement. Additionally, I'd like to add on that raising standards, it seems to be the trajectory that we're moving And I strongly agree that when you raise expectations to children, they'll meet and exceed those expectations. So that's something that I'd like to build upon.
Thank you. Ms. Phil?
I agree with my opponent. I really feel like there are a lot of school board meetings where we're sitting there as a board with administrative staff and there isn't a whole lot of community involvement. And I think not everybody wants to spend a Wednesday night at a school board meeting. So finding ways that we could go out into the community. Kathy Day and I, who's a fellow school board member, have been attending occasional farmers markets for the last couple of years, just hanging out in the summer and saying, hey, come talk to us if you have a question or a concern or a thought. And we're thinking about other venues in which we could get out into the community, and especially hearing from families, students, community members who maybe we don't hear from as much, right, are sort of marginalized in our community. So we're thinking about how to get more involvement in that regard. And some of that means talking about education in ways that's less bureaucratized, like all of the acronyms and the things that make it less accessible for people to talk about. We know that students, that families, that community members have concerns that we need to listen to. So we will attempt to do that.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move to the hospital district. I'm getting several questions here about finances, taxes, and levies. So I'm gonna try to combine this into maybe an all-encompassing question. Mr. Clark, it's your opportunity to answer first.
Okay, you want to know just about the levy?
No, I'm gonna ask the question, and then ask you to respond to it. Is that okay, sir?
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead, ask the question.
Thank you. So the hospital has an annual budget. It's supported by various different things, including, payments for fees as well as taxes. Is the current budget adequate? If it is not, what would you do to change it, either positively or negatively? That's the first part. The second part of the question is, what percentage of the budget is uncompensated? And how would you mitigate that?
The budget that the hospital has been doing pretty well. But one of the budget issues that we've been having is some of the doctors have been moving someplace else. And that's one reason why back in the primary election, we asked to have a levy passed so we can increase a little bit more money that we can pay the doctors and try to keep them here. Plus, we've also added a lot of doctors. Since I'm a commissioner for the hospital district, I need to talk for only 30 seconds longer. I've had a lot of people ask me about other doctors here, and I recommended that we get a cardiologist. We have one now. We have a neurologist now, and we have a couple other doctors. But last month at our meeting, I had been talking to the other commissioners and the CEO that we would get a urologist, and we voted to do that. And we're gonna have a urologist here, so people don't have to travel to another place to be the urologist. But our finance is been doing really well. And I guess I talked about too many pennies, that's why you want me to stop.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Arnold?
Can you repeat the question, Mr. Jewell?
I made it up.
I could tell.
But I'm gonna do my best.
That's all right.
So the school board has a budget.
The hospital.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's why I'm here to keep you accountable.
I know, I was already moving on to the school board's questions. I was preparing for the next panel, Mr. Arnold.
It's all right, Mr.
You embarrassed me in front of everyone.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's okay, I'll be fine. The hospital budget itself is supported by many different things, including fees for service as well as taxes. Is it adequate? Is it or not, in your opinion? And what would you do to address that one way or the other? And secondly, a certain portion of the hospital's budget is uncompensated, right? It's services that don't get paid for. What strategies would you utilize to mitigate that?
And after all that hard work, I will be the first to confess I don't know all the nuance of the hospital budget. I have been doing my best to try to verse myself on the different challenges that I've seen. So I don't feel I have a great answer to that question. But again, that's one of my concerns, is that we pay close attention to those finances moving forward. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and come back over to the school district position. And I think I think it's your opportunity, Ms. Coe. Okay, Ms. Coe, it's your opportunity to answer the question first. It appears that we have a Department of Natural Resources fan in the audience, and they specifically want to know about your support for timber sales and how commercial timber harvest helps to fund schools and school construction.
I'm stumped. I'm not sure I can answer that question. Not even intended, just happens naturally off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer that question. I feel like I need to go back and do research onto how timber sales fund the school budget. Sorry.
Okay, Mr. Carrick?
Well, as someone who dabbles in timber sports, I think it's an excellent question. Anything to offset costs and bring revenue while taking care of our natural resources would be a fine idea. While I'm not well versed on the application, how that works here, it's something I definitely love to look into and see better how it operates, but it sounds like a winning combination to me, taking care of something that's one of our greatest resources with our forests, and hopefully with selective cutting, taking care of those forests and also giving back to the education system. So I think it sounds like a win-win-win.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move back to our hospital district commissioner panel with our next question. Mr. Arnold, I believe it's your opportunity to answer first, and then your opportunity will be after Mr. Clark. This is kind of related to the second part of the last question, which talked about uncompensated care. Suppose a patient, this is a hypothetical that someone in the audience has posed. Suppose a patient has an urgent need for immediate care but cannot pay. Do you believe that the hospital has a moral obligation to treat that person?
I appreciate that question. I think the moral question is also subservient to the legal question. Again, not an expert on the legal side, but it is my understanding that part of our critical access hospital is required to serve those particular patients. So on the moral side, speaking personally, outside of knowing all the legal implications, I would love to be a part of a hospital that continues to serve all who come into its doors.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Mr. Clark.
So the hospital, we've expanded it a huge amount this year, because that was something else I was recommending. And, our hospital is a lot larger. We now have 4 surgery rooms there. We only used to have 2, so we can do a lot more surgery. And then, one of the things I talked about to them, we used to have, only 1 CAT scan, and now we have a second one, because that way, if our CAT scan doesn't work, it's the only thing in our county, we have a second one that can do it. And then the RMI machine used to be in a little outside thing, and I recommended that we moved it back into the hospital, and it is. So now everything's in the hospital. It's really been increased, so that way we have increased it, so I think it's 100% good now.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay, let's move back to our school board candidates. I have another question for you, and for those of you who saw me on my phone a moment ago, I was not updating my Insta. Believe it or not, I was preparing for this question. Neurodivergence, which is defined, according to Google, as people who experience significant differences in brain function and processing compared to the typical or neurotypical patterns, is increasing within our population. What is the school district doing, or what should they be doing to enhance programs to address this increase?
Well, I think we need to keep up not only with emerging technologies such as AI in the classroom and learning how to utilize those with neurodivergence, integrate those into different teaching systems, but also bring in specialized educators. This last year, we watched, I believe it, if it was 1, there may have been 2 special needs educators that are retired. So as we have these wonderful educators that have been in our system for so many years, it affects so many lives in a positive way. As we watch them retire off, it's very important that we recruit teachers to bring on to get up to speed. And with our growing populace, we're going from a rural to an urban community, so having more teachers at the forefront is definitely something that we need.
Thank you. Ms. Coe?
So it's part of school district policy in Washington state law that we cannot discriminate against the neurodivergent, against neurodivergent students. So that just, that's the baseline. It is a challenge for the district and every district in Washington state, how to pay for special education. We are not compensated by the state to the level that we're required to provide resources to special needs students for special education. And so it's part of navigating and maintaining the financial health of the district for us to think about how to efficiently, but also effectively support the needs of every single student. That is in part staffing and getting the right fit for each student, working with families, and working with classroom teachers to make sure that students have the support that they need throughout their educational career.
Thank you. Okay, moving back to our hospital district commissioner candidates. The next question, I believe Mr. Clark has the opportunity to answer first, and then Mr. Arnold. Do you see any opportunities for partnerships with other organizations? If so, which ones and why?
Do you want to know what partnerships are?
No. Do you, as a candidate for hospital district commissioner, see any opportunities for partnerships between the hospital and other organizations? If so, which ones and why?
Do you want to know the partnership between the hospital and other organizations?
Do you see any opportunities for partnerships?
Well, we have created some partnerships with some other places, but one of the things, since we're a public hospital district, it is very important that we support any community member that has any questions about our hospital. And I've had a lot of people ask me those questions, and one of the things they didn't want was to be transferred someplace else. And that's one reason why we've been increasing the hospital and the doctors that we have here. So that way we don't have to correspond with other things like that. But the cardiologist, the urologist we're gonna get, and the OB people, and also the hospital doctors, the ones that stay in the hospital 100%. Those are a group of people that we have a contract with. So we did correspond with those. And then I have to stop now.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Arnold?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, if I can find it. Are there any opportunities, or do you see any opportunities for partnerships with other organizations? If so, which ones and why?
Yeah, and I do believe KVH has done a pretty solid job of maintaining the partnerships it does have with many of the local organizations and health providers throughout the Northwest, including the local medical schools in the Northwest as well. But again, I think as we continue to move forward, as we lean into strong, healthy leadership, that will continue to advance our ability to create more partnerships and be an organization that other organizations want to partner with in many years to come.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
Can I say one more thing?
You'll have another opportunity when another question comes forward. If you want to readdress this question at that time, you can feel free to do so, Mr. Clark. No, you'll have to wait until your next opportunity, sir. Okay, let's move back to our school board candidates. And I believe is it your turn, Ms. Coe, to answer first this time? Let's talk about student safety. I have a couple questions about that, and I know student safety especially is on the minds of parents all the time, right? When they're sending their students to school, and it's certainly an issue not just here in Ellensburg but nationwide. What can you do as a school board member to ensure the safety of all students within the school district?
So, I mean, as a parent, I thought about this a lot. Are my students safe when they're at school? In a physical sense, but also in a social and emotional sense. I think schools in this district, as well as in the rest of Washington state, we've done a very good job thinking about the physical safety of students. Every single school has double door entry. We have really good partnerships with the Ellensburg Police Department to make sure that there are safety officers around, if not in the school. There are a lot of people monitoring playgrounds and so forth. I think physical safety is actually easier to deal with for an institution like a school than emotional and social safety. And so I think the strategic plan really focusing on student well-being is thinking about bullying, intimidation, harassment, things that students experience mostly from other students, and how do we address that problem?
Thank you. Mr. Carricker.
Well, I believe student safety must be approached as both a physical and emotional priority. On the physical side, I would support continued investment in secure facilities, clear safety protocols, and strong partnerships with local law enforcement and emergency services. Being prepared and prevention, they go hand in hand. Equally important is creating a culture of support. Safety is not just about locked doors and drills. It's also about ensuring that students have access to trusted adults, counselors, and peer support when they're struggling. By addressing mental health needs early and building strong relationships, we can prevent crises before they occur. Most importantly, I believe safety comes from collaboration. Teachers, parents, staff, and students themselves, they must have a voice in shaping policies that reflect our community's values. With transparency, training, and consistent resources, we can ensure every student feels safe, supported, and ready to learn.
Thank you, Mr. Carricker. All right, let's move on to the hospital district commissioners, and Mr. Clark, I believe Mr. Arnold, it's your opportunity to answer this question first. Many of the organizations that serve the community are really only as good as the staff that serve those organizations, right? And work in those organizations. The hospital is no different. What role does a hospital district commissioner have in establishing and nurturing a healthy employee culture at KVH?
Oh, I love that question. In fact, this is one of the subjects I'm very passionate about, because I do believe that when our staff at KVH feel valued, cared for, and supported, we'll have even stronger healthcare in Kittitas County. So what role can a commissioner play? I think it's a tremendous role beyond wise supervision, beyond wise financial accountability. But I think a commissioner can really inspire a team to know that they are cared for, that they are advocated for. And I think our staff and providers at KVH demand that, and they need that. And KVH is one of our largest employers in the county, and I'd love to see that workforce continue to feel empowered and excited for the future.
Thank you. Mr. Clark.
Well, I use my commissioner authority to ensure that KVH remains an employer of choice, because we are a large employer, that it attracts the greatest quantity of workforce in this area, and our employees are really happy to be there. But the other thing that's really important, I think people know about the hospital, since we're a public hospital district, every month we have a public meeting, and people could come sit in the meeting, and at the beginning of the meeting, they can ask a question about any type of healthcare here. And then the other thing is, if you go to the KVH website, every meeting is recorded, and consequently, you could listen to the whole meeting. And then the other thing is, there's always an agenda. I have one here, and you can also look at this with your computer. Well, I'm not gonna stop right yet. You can look at this and see what that meeting was about, but you can listen to everybody at that meeting.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Clark.
see what a great employer we are.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Appreciate that answer. This is a rare occasion where I'm actually going to ask the same question of the school board panel, because I think it is germane. It's not just a hospital that really needs good staff, right? It's not just a hospital that's a major employer in our community. The school district is the same exact way. So in your role as a school board member, what do you think, what impact do you have? What ability do you have in establishing and nurturing a healthy employee culture at the school district. I think it's Mr. Carricker's opportunity now. No? Yeah. You guys don't agree? I think it's Mr. Carricker's opportunity to answer first.
Well, what can we do what could I do as a member to foster support? Right now, definitely support our current superintendent. I think he's a rock star. He's a diamond in the rough, and I think he's underappreciated for what he's doing right now. Again, it goes back to collaboration with the parents and the teachers, keeping those strong lines of communication open, expectation for learner outcomes. There's some great youth advocates that are working in the school system. It would be excellent to pick their brains and see what's really going on in the nuts and the bolts of the school and take their concerns into account when you're making these decisions on policies. So I would just, again, try to foster the community communication and get the word out there. And I'd like to hear from more parents and students.
Thank you. Ms. Coe?
I think teaching is just a really tough job. We have excellent, experienced veteran teachers in this district who know what they're doing, who've been working with their 4th graders or 11th graders or whatever it is for a long time. And so supporting teachers, not overloading them. So not giving them 1,600 things to do in a day, but allowing their creativity and allowing their expertise to shine through. So trusting teachers and supporting their work. But it's not just teachers in the classroom, they're paraprofessionals, they're all kinds of staff, guidance counselors. So making sure that the whole school has clarity about what our priorities and goals are, and then supporting each one of those staff members to do their work and function well together. I think this is absolutely crucial. We've done it well for a long time, and I think the strategic plan will help us to do it better.
Thank you. All right, that ends the questions portion of our panel discussion this evening. We're going to go ahead and move really quickly to our closing statements. We'll start with the hospital commissioner positions and Mr. Arnold.
Yeah, I do want to just say thank you for the honor of being a part of this event tonight. I'm running for hospital commissioner because I believe that healthcare is personal. I want the very best for my family, for the other families that I know and serve in this community, and also the employers and the providers at KVH. I know so many of them, and they want so much more. So it's my desire that in the next season, that we, again, at a season that we face so many challenges at a federal and state level. At a local level, we have to be the sharpest, smartest, wisest, most engaged leaders that we can to advocate for the very best healthcare right here in Kittitas County. So I would love the opportunity to serve in this capacity.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, you have 90 seconds.
All right, well, since I'm a commissioner and this is a public hospital, people can contact me or any of the other commissioners and ask questions about healthcare. And it's not legal to only want to do healthcare for yourself personally or your family. It has to be for the whole public. It's for everybody. And that's one reason why we've increased the number of doctors we have, because we now have an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, an allergy doctor, a cardiologist, a vascular surgery, and a neurologist, because so many people have contacted me and the other commissioners, but we have to do it publicly. That's really important. And then I said earlier, if you want to know more about the meetings, they're recorded and they're on YouTube. And I could have, but I can't do it now. I could have played part of a meeting on my iPhone or the iPad I brought in here, so people could have seen it. And they have a thing like this during the meeting. And they also show some other pictures and stuff about what's going on around there. But it's very important to make sure that you do the whole thing for the whole community, because anything you try to do for just yourself or your family is almost illegal. And consequently, you could almost get kicked out for doing something like that.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to our school district, school board, excuse me, candidates. I believe Ms. Coe, it's your opportunity to go first, 90 seconds.
So thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and the League of Women Voters for organizing this event. It's good to practice democracy regularly, so I appreciate everybody's attention, the questions that have been raised. You're listening to our answers to them. I've been on the school board for 2.5, almost 3 years. I've learned a heck of a lot, even though I've been thinking about education for most of my adult life. I've learned a lot about the pre-K through 12 public school system. I'd like to put that experience to use in the next 4-year term. I wanted to respond to one thing just about like what education is for. I think practical skills, vocational training is really important. We already do it at the middle school and the high school. There are opportunities to do that. The Ellensburg Choice School is more vocationally oriented. But we know that people in this country over the course of their adult lives have not only multiple jobs, but multiple careers. And we need, as a public school district, to prepare people for that wide range of jobs that they might have, the skills and the knowledge that employers expect. So the foundational skills, the academic skills, but also offering a range of classes so that students in middle school and high school can choose what best prepares them for their future. We're doing that. There are probably ways in which we could do it better, but I did want to emphasize that vocational training is something that we already do. I think it's important also that we offer the wide range of academic opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coe. And to wrap up, Mr. Carricker, 90 seconds.
All right, I'd like to thank the Kittitas County Chamber and the League of Women Voters for putting this together. More importantly, I'd like to thank everyone that's still in attendance and everyone that submitted questions and is part of this process. And lastly, I'd like to thank Paul Jewell for moderating this. And luckily for Paul, the name was Michael and not Jessica Carricker, so that's a gift for you. Sitting on the couple of boards that I sit on, I sit on Homeless and Affordable Housing Committee. I also sit on the 1/10 of 1% Substance Abuse and Mental tax, and going through those couple of committees, seeing the work that we're trying to do to emphasize getting out ahead of problems, education, destigmatizing issues, getting out and making sure that no kids fall through the cracks. It easily could have been me. And fortunately, through education, through work ethic, I've managed to make something that I feel proud of in my own life. And I'd like to extend that out to other kids that maybe don't feel like they're on that college level, on that college basis, and to know that it's a great path to follow and chase, but it's only one path to success. There's many others, and I think that education should encompass them all. If you'd like, I have more information about myself at the back of this room. I'd be happy to meet with anyone that has any other questions, and I'd be happy to earn your vote.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our forum this evening. I want to thank the Kittitas Valley Event Center for providing the space for this evening's forum. Also want to make sure that, again, we thank the League of Women Voters and the Kittitas County Chamber for hosting tonight's event. Want to thank you, the audience. You guys have been a great audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. We really appreciate you being here tonight. It's great to support the candidates. We really appreciate your hard-hitting questions. I think we got to a lot of good details on some of the candidates' interests and strategies and plans for the community, so that was great. I want to make sure that we thank everybody who's going to be viewing this later, either online or in the audience at home on television. We really appreciate you engaging in your local civics. There's an opportunity to vote for any of these candidates. If you haven't done so already, ballots are out. If for some reason you think you should have received a ballot and you didn't, please contact the Kittitas County Auditor's Office and they can help you with that at the Election Center. Finally, I want to make sure that we thank the candidates, whether it's the panel that we have in front of us or the panel that we have before us. I can tell you from personal experience, it takes a ton of sacrifice and a lot of courage to put your name on a ballot and to sit in front of your community, and be judged individually and personally. That's not something that any of us should take, lightly, and I believe we, deserve, or at least these candidates, excuse me, deserve our, undying respect, and our gratitude for running for office. Let's join them in, join me in thanking them. Thank you, everyone, and good night. All right, good job, guys.